On today's episode of Perfiles, I have the privilege of reconnecting, of interviewing my paisana. She's a daughter of the desert. She is from Tucson, Arizona. Her name is Angelica Celaya. She is an actress that has worked both in mainstream and for U.S. Hispanic audiences. You might recall her from Jenni Rivera, Mariposa de Barrio, or Constantine. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dawn.
This is a conversation that I would like for you to enjoy. I aim to inspire audiences, and I know that you have been doing everything on your own. So tell me, how did everything started for you? I remember back in the day, I met you in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
You were in high school. You were studying drama.
I was studying drama in high school, but I was also studying, at the same time I was going to the U of A, studying psychology and Spanish linguistics.
And I remember that I met your mother, Lupita. She was always a very, very nice and kind person. And she's also your cheerleader.
Yes.
And she makes sure that you fulfill your dream of being an actress.
Oh, yeah.
And the first show, or probably the one that made you well known, was Protagonistas de Novela. Tell me how everything started for you in television.
Well, yeah, I met you back in Telemundo.
Can you believe
Arizona.
that? More than 2 decades ago.
That was a while back ago, but that's where I actually started getting a little bit of a knowledge what it was going in front of the camera and learning how a station actually works too, because that's where I was working. I was working back in the station. But so I started doing the reality show, and it was like a Big Brother meets American Idol focused on acting. And that's where I had never really, I was studying drama, but one thing is to study drama, another thing is to say, I'm gonna make a career out of acting. I didn't know. I went to Tucson, Arizona. Who makes a career out of acting? Well, I got the opportunity, and they wanted diversity, and they got a diverse person. Mm-hmm. And I went out to Miami, and I started on this reality show, and it started going really good for me. And
I remember, I remember watching on TV a promo of you riding a horse, like Maria Felix. She's also she has roots in Sonora. And I remember I called your mother and I said, oh my gosh, congratulations, I just saw Angelica on the screen. And then, of course, you nailed it.
Yes. Well, funny thing is that because I did my introduction of who am I to this reality show on top of a horse, because they were like, well, who are you? I'm like, well, I'm the girl that, my first memory with my dad is riding a horse with him when I was like, I don't know, 3 years old. And I'm used to that, the vaquero lifestyle. So then, let's incorporate that. They're gonna love it in Miami. It's gonna be great. So I incorporated my vaquero lifestyle that I have from my dad and from living in Tucson, Arizona, into that. That's how they casted me for Plateados, which was my first, well, not my first, but it was like from beginning to end supporting actor role, and that had to do with the Mexican Revolution. It was all done on horseback. So they were like, she knows how to ride a horse, because that's the way she presented herself. Yes. So horseback riding has brought me a long ways.
Very good. And out of that reality show also was, well, William Levy, who you probably remember from Dancing with the Stars on ABC. But probably the actress or the actor that's done the most is you in mainstream. So this is a very versatile actress that her biculturalism has given her the opportunity to not only work for U.S. Hispanic audiences, but for mainstream, for general market. And one of those series was Constantine.
Yes.
In 2012. I mean, here I am fast forwarding, but after Plateados came Ladrón de Corazones.
It was Ladrón de Corazones, then Plateados, and then
Marina.
I did Marina, and then I was working with TV Azteca in Mexico City, and I started doing daytime talk shows there, the daytime morning shows there, and then I was doing a lot of antagonistic roles because I'm a big girl, I'm 5'9", and they're always like, oh, she can be tough, she can be this. So I started doing roles for them, being this tough, sexy woman, and little did they know they were contracting someone who's weird and clumsy, but great. So that worked well. And it was a funny thing, there was a moment with TV Azteca where they wanted to present, I was working on a reality show with them, and co-hosting and working with La Secretaría de Turismo in Mexico, making couples around La República Mexicana and showcasing what Mexico offers in tourism. And everything was going well, and they wanted me to not only be in front of the camera, but they wanted to bring me to diversify in behind the scenes and bring in content and all that. And because they didn't have an actor who spoke both languages perfectly, who could, communicate to mainstream in the U.S., because at that moment, TV Azteca was starting to have a footing in the U.S., but didn't know how to communicate programming to the U.S. So
This is 2003?
This is like 2004, 5.
Yes.
No, 2005. And so I'm doing all this for TV Azteca. I had a Me Too moment.
You did.
I had a Me Too moment.
In
and
Azteca.
Not with TV Azteca. It was with someone who was affiliated with several people, politician who now he has, I believe, over 80 lawsuits.
In Mexico?
In Mexico, that now he is in refuge in...
Who is he? What can you even... Oh my gosh, I wasn't aware of this.
Yes, Andres Reuner. And he's, right now, he's living in Israel, and he has been stripped of all his honorary things. But yeah, he worked with Canal 40 in Mexico, and because I'm bilingual and studied psychology and all this, he brought me...
You were prepared. You were
I
educated.
was prepared, educated, and he brought me onto his show because he did a show of community interest and wanting to uplift citizens, which is something that I have always wanted to do, because if there's one thing I learned with going to acting school in Argos in Mexico City, the people from Argos, they're very revolutionary in what they film, what they shoot, what they write, and they're always pushing, the envelope on what's next. And we have the responsibility to educate the masses.
Okay.
The people, my dad finished school. He didn't finish school. He went up to 6th grade. And what has been his education, the news, and whatever he sees on TV. So it's my duty as I'm coming out on TV is let me do whatever I can do to educate the masses. And so this man brought to my attention that I could do these things and that I could help. And there was a moment when he got a little too handsy, and I got out of that situation.
Did you report it? I mean, at the
No,
time,
because at the
nobody was
no.
reporting anything.
No, especially when you have a guard outside with an AK-47, you really can't report much, and you really can't ask for help. But no, within 2 to 3 weeks of that incident, I got offered a role to go to Miami to go do the miniseries with Chayanne.
Okay.
And I accepted the role, and I stopped working with TV Azteca. TV Azteca was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I gotta go.
I'm fleeing the country.
I gotta go." I did not tell anybody what was going on. I just said, I have to go. And so working with this miniseries with Chayanne was very liberating to me. And it was also another feat to do because we shot in Rome, in Venice, in Cartagena, in Viejo San Juan, and in Miami, and it was...
So you got to travel and see the world.
I traveled and saw the world, and
what you love.
And I was doing what I would love without any Me Too moments. It was great.
I wasn't aware that you went through that. Now, Constantine, how does that opportunity? I mean, it's very tough to make it in the mainstream. How tough has it been for you as a Latina here in Los Angeles?
Well, crazy thing and an amazing thing that David Goyer, he co-wrote Batman and created so many great programming. He works with DC Comics. He gave me the opportunity to be the first Latina superhero for television. Now, when I met you, I was working in Telemundo, and when I was the moment before accepting to go and audition for the reality show, I told my mom, this is back when I knew that DC Comics had entered the Universal, with NBC and all that, and I told my mom, I want to work with NBC and I want to be a superhero. At that moment, the only superhero I knew was Wonder Woman. And I said, I want to be the next Wonder Woman. I want to be the next.
And you are
so
probably going to be the next Wonder Woman, so hey.
I'll be the Wonder Mama. And then
No.
It was that moment of, that's what I had in my head. I need to work with NBC. I need to work with NBC. There's nothing else I want in the world but to be a superhero. And that's why I was doing my own stunts in the shows. And that's why I wanted to get this male, alpha energy out, because I wanted to showcase the world what I could do. And there came the moment to actually do this role, who she is Latina, and they brought me on, and I am forever grateful for that moment, and to portray the first, Latina superhero for DC Comics.
Wow. Congratulations.
I
Well, hey, be careful of what you wish for, no? And then also Dallas and True Lies,
Yes.
Pandora. But of course, before the Pandora, she did an amazing job. And this is another occasion that I actually had the opportunity to reconnect with her, was doing Jenni Rivera, Mariposa de Barrio. And I remember that my colleague, your colleague David, was spearheading all the campaign for the Spanish media outlets. And I was like, okay, Dawn worked for the Rivera, so now we're gonna have her join us, our efforts. And I did everything with English media. So I remember we went to On with Mario Lopez.
Yes.
Ryan
He felt my belly, and my mom had a moment with Mario Lopez too, and we did Ryan Seacrest.
We did. I remember it was a good bliss.
Yes.
Of course, I contacted the Tucson AZ Central. I think maybe Arizona Republic también. But
Yes.
that was another opportunity that I had to collaborate with you in the capacity as a publicist, and we traveled to Los Angeles. We came here and we did the bliss with the media, English media outlets. And I remember, I never knew, but at the time she was pregnant when she was filming this series biopic based on the regional Mexican singer, Jenni Rivera. And I remember seeing you at, I think, Latin billboards, and you were, then I learned, oh my gosh, she is pregnant? Oh my God. But you were wearing this beautiful floral dress. And I imagine that baby, Angel Alessandro, gave you a lot of strength.
Oh, he did. I was working long hours. I was working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. I only had 1 day off. And it was hardcore. And I was doing 30 scenes a day. It was go, 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 and doing the music and doing all this and that. And with that extremity of working with so many different personalities, because we did Jenni throughout all, different stages of life. So it was going forward 5 years, back 8 years, and it was just doing all this stuff at the same time and she didn't have the easiest life. So bringing all the reality of what she went through, and that takes a lot out of you as an actor, but actually being pregnant, it just took more. But I want to say something. I had testosterone in me because I was creating a boy. So I had more testosterone, which made me happier, and it made me nice.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Angelica, are you okay? Let's do it. 40 scenes a day? Sure.
Wow. Well, you're a Wonder Woman there. Hey, you want to be a hero? Wonder Woman. Now, this was in 2017.
Yes.
And then you kind of spend some time with your son, After that opportunity, what came after?
After, I want to say a year and a couple of months, they offered me the role to go to Mexico City and continue working with Telemundo, Preso Número Uno, and it was like a presidential melodrama.
Okay. Yes, I remember Eric Heiser is the lead actor. Yes.
And I played his wife, which then I became an issue in the storyline, not in real life, in the storyline. And they brought me in as this hot, beautiful, elegant thing, and I had just given birth, so I was like, oh my God, yes, I can do that. You want me to do that? Me and my, post body of having given birth. Thank you. So did that, took my son to Mexico City, and I had him 100% with me. So it was another Wonder Woman
bonding with your son.
Because I'm working in the daytime or at night.
Did you have any assistants at all?
I did. I hired
like a nanny?
A nanny, and it was only when I was on set.
Okay.
The moment I got home, I'm all hands on with my son. Nice. And no one needed to be around, and that because I needed my moment alone with my son.
Oh, wow.
And
he's so beautiful, Angel Alessandro. He does look like a little angel.
He is my angel.
The blue eyes.
Absolutely my angel.
Yes.
I gave birth in Cedar Sinai, and I was giving birth in my room overlooked the Hollywood sign, and I was like, yes, baby, that's what you're meant to do.
Oh my gosh. So we've talked about your career, your professional career, and I know when the pandemic happened, a lot of productions were stalled, and maybe probably a lot of projects that
Yeah.
you were in negotiation with as well. And it was probably not a nice time for anybody.
No.
What happened during this time? I mean, you were with the father of your child?
Yes, I was with the father of my child, and we just bonded closer. I got to spend day in and out with my son. I got COVID, OG COVID, the first, you know. And then it was this moment of, I don't want to pass it on to my son, but he was just, 2 years old, so his T cells were sharp and new, and he didn't get anything, and it was great. But it gave me that moment to appreciate my son and life, and moved into a house, because my life has accustomed me to live in an apartment, because it's easier to lock the door and leave the country for 6 months instead of having someone, can you go check on the tubes,
mail.
the mail, the grass, make sure the pipes are working. Can you go flush my toilet to make sure, like all these things that you worry about when you have a house, I don't have to worry about, because that's what the building is there for. Goodbye. So that's what I got used to for a long period of my life. And then it's like, okay, you know what? The parks were closed, everything. Let's do a big move, get into our home, and lived the happy life for a minute.
And was it a happy life?
It was not. It
No?
was.
Oh,
It was.
wow.
It was not. It was an interesting moment. But then, life. My God gave me the opportunity to. As soon as production started up again, I went to Miami to go.
La Mujer de
work.
mi Vida. And
Yes.
that's another production that I got the opportunity to collaborate with her. I remember creating content during the promo shoot. The series did not air in the US, but I know it's airing in Mexico City and Puerto Rico as
Yes.
well. Where can people view La Mujer de mi Vida?
La Mujer de mi Vida came out in Mexico en el Canal 9, en Puerto Rico. I have no idea, but it's on the air right now. God bless them. But that was an amazing production that we did.
I
and
know,
we
you were
worked
the
together.
lead actress. Come on. I remember we did a beautiful tour of the set, and we did it in both languages, because I was aiming to take her beyond Spanish language and get her on all the national shows so she can showcase and show her talent. So we've talked a lot about your career, and I congratulate you, because to be a lead actress, be pregnant, oh my gosh, and to also work in mainstream. Me quito el sombrero.
Thank you.
Now, we haven't talked about your personal life that much. I know that you're a proud mother of Angela Alessandro.
Yes.
And I wasn't aware that you experienced, the Me Too or that kind of, not assault, but yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced any other type of abuse in your relationships, or?
Yes, there's moments that I've never talked publicly about, but I think I'm ready to. That has to do with portraying Jenni was an eye-opener for me. And it wasn't just for my career, it was for life. A lot of women felt identified and started calling into the hotlines, because every time after that episode would end on Telemundo, there was a hotline to ask for help.
Wow.
And so many women were calling the hotline asking for help, because they needed to feel that someone else was also living that reality, that they weren't by themselves.
Were you living that reality during?
Not at that moment, but before that moment, I did. I
Wow.
never talked about it. Not gonna name the man, not the father of my son at all. Don't want people to think that it's, that's why we're not together. No. We're not together because we're two different heads, and sometimes we can't coexist. But it happened before, and I stayed quiet, and it was physical, emotional, mental abuse, and it was a moment of when you love someone so much and you want to see the better, you're there. And I didn't realize how many more women were out there living the same experience that what I was living.
How many years do you endure this relationship?
It didn't. It really didn't get back to the last. It was. I want to say an 8-month ordeal of me living through this moment with this person. And what I take away from that experience is I'm a true believer that everything you live
is for a reason.
is for a reason.
Whoosh.
And the more you communicate and the more you're open about it, the more people will connect with you. And that is my main reason for being in front of the camera, is to connect. And I can't just do any role to just do. I don't want to be Latinas, and especially Mexican women, immigrant women, working, the maid, character. Maid work is honorable, because I used to clean houses with my mom when I was 13 years old. Wow. I know exactly what it is to clean houses. I still clean my own house.
Wow, well, if you're getting to know the real Angelica Celaya here, okay? So
I was the person, I know what it is to clean houses, because I was doing it when I was 13 years old with my mom to make sure, we had a little extra money coming in because times were hard. I know what it is to, be a penny saver and do everything possible to make ends meet. So it's very honorable work. But as Latinos, we're so much more.
So what do you think about the Latino representation currently right now in Hollywood? Has it improved from 20 years ago when you first started here in this, or maybe in 2010 when you first started auditioning for English?
I think there's still a very big gap, and there is a lack of representation on screen. And people say, oh, such and such a network is too white. A lot of American network is too white. Mind you that Latinos were the largest minority in the United States, and we're very underrepresented. Other minorities that deserve the same representation have a lot more on screen than we do. Yeah. So I think we still have ways to go. What I'm proud of right now is that now you get the breakdowns of the audition and they say, use your natural accent.
Nice.
That is beautiful.
Great,
yes.
Great. Oh my gosh, okay, so that's amazing. Now, we were talking about your personal life, and and I know probably your experience, if you endured or survived, or you were a survivor of domestic violence, what is the message that you want to get with that experience that you already overcome?
The message that I want to give is, 1, you're not alone. 2, the stigma behind it needs to be eradicated. I'm working towards a personal project, but I want to also be a voice to others that women who endure any type of domestic violence, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or financial abuse, they stay. And some stay because they don't have other means to do it on their own, and others stay because they still love and see the brighter side of things. And instead of judging the women and saying, it's so easy to judge from the outside and say, but why don't you leave? Why don't you get out?
Because you probably want to rescue him, or?
There's still a lot. There's a lot. It's not a simple answer. And what I want to do is open up that conversation, because it's not as easy as everybody thinks. And you still have if you're like me, that you want to save the world, you also want to save that person. And it is hard to leave a person knowing that, no, they're not going to change. They're not going to. And our mothers tell us, no va a cambiar, no va a cambiar. But you believe wholeheartedly that person can change, because you think about yourself, well, if I find myself in a situation and something is going negative, I'm going to change it to a positive. Well, not everybody thinks that way. And especially when you're in a relationship where you fully love and you're there and you're living your cookie cutter life or your dream life or whatever, it is hard to leave. And what I want to do is open up the communication and the conversation around that stop pointing the finger towards the woman of why she doesn't leave, and start understanding. And maybe through understanding and compassion and open up that communication, we can actually empower the woman to trust herself that she can do it on her own.
Now, we were talking briefly before we started our interview, our actual interview, and one of those recent experiences that kind of made you regain your confidence, or to make you feel empowered, was going to La Isla, doing a reality show for Telemundo Network in Turkey, and you said something very that a lot of people do everything for everybody, but you don't do it for yourself. So tell me about that experience. How crazy it was. You were starving, or what?
Listen. It was like Survivor, but for Telemundo. I was eating one small can of tuna, 1 can of beans, and a jar of vegetables per day. That's it. No more.
How much weight did you lose?
A lot, but then we started stealing food, and then I started waking up at 5 a.m. to go into the production camp and get everything I could from them. So They obviously were not offering coffee, but I made sure I got coffee. I made sure I got cookies. I made sure I got my carbohydrates in.
Yeah.
I did it a lot.
Well, that is courageous. When I saw that you were in the show, I was like, oh my, physically, I thought it was demanding.
It's very demanding. They had us from morning till the afternoon going out there on grueling circuits, physical activity, which I've never done in my life. And I'm not the most athletic person out there. And I feel like I got bamboozled because they're like, oh no, it's not gonna be that bad. It's like putting a little ball in a hole. Yeah, that's the finishing thing you have to do is put the little ball in the hole, but get yourself to put that little ball in the hole. You gotta carry and go and jump and crawl and then swing in it. I ended up having an MRI on my left leg because I hit it against a wooden post, going full speed on my shin. So that left a dent. And then I have a small fissure on my left ankle, but oh God, I don't.
But it was an experience that kind of like made you snap out of everything that probably.
It took me out of the reality that we're here and took me to another reality. And honestly, what did I need to survive? Did I need a roof? No, because I spent the majority of the time, I was a contestant that spent the majority of the time outside. Because you either do good in the competition, you get to live in a house, or you do poorly in the competition and you sleep outside with no food. That's me. And what did I need to do to survive? I was looking around in Cappadocia. I started seeing all these beautiful apricot trees, and I'm like, apricots it is. And I started getting bags and bags full of apricots. And depending where we were at, if we were in Isparta, and there was just fields of apples, green and red. I'm like, okay, let's go, green and red apples. Everybody has green and red. And that was me. I learned to sleep outside. I learned to just trust and reconnect, because good God,
with yourself.
We're connected to the self, and we're connected to electronics. We're connected to other people. Now take all of that away. Take it away. Find strength within yourself. Find solitude and peace within yourself, and keep continuing. Now it came to a point where I became the contestant where, no, she's gonna be eliminated first round. No, she ain't gonna make it. She ain't gonna make it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, she's doing it. She's doing it. I was the underdog in the competition. And it became that moment of, instead of praying to God, oh my God, please let me get to the next round, it was, help me accept if I still need to be here for another week. Help me accept that, because I was ready to leave, because it was a lot of drama, a lot of contestants didn't want me in there. It was very lonely, and everybody that I was trusting kept leaving and leaving and leaving, and it was just like, who do I trust? Who's gonna be there by my side? No one was there by my side, and I had to trust myself, trust in God. I had a beautiful connection, and it became this thing of, I told my son, every time you look at the moon, that's me looking at you.
Aww.
So every time I was competing to survive and stay within the competition, I would always looking for the moon. As soon as I found the moon, I would zero in.
So he's been your motivation.
Girl, I have a mark on my leg for first competition of elimination, sitting on the edge of the table with my legs out like this, with 2 pounds or 4 pounds on each foot, and like this. The first person puts their foot down, eliminated. 45 minutes
Your
later.
core, let me try that. Oh my gosh, I can't do it.
45 minutes
Oh my gosh.
later, because no one would give. No one would budge. And I got long legs, so
Yeah.
let
me see. I can't.
my shorter friends, you know, they had more room on the table. I'm 5'9", so that went right beneath my butt. And
my gosh, thank you so much. Well, life is about experiences, and you certainly, I don't think you have any regrets. Now, one of the things also, I guess you're doing this, working in your soul, probably.
Yes.
That's what you've been doing. That experience probably, if you were there with no phones or no, it's tough.
It's tough, but I gave back to me, and that was my whole reason for going, is because I lost myself. And you lose yourself in motherhood, and in this world, in the entertainment industry, you just like you're there, and we're talking about you're going towards the job, you're going towards the job, you're going towards the gore, you're going towards all these things, and you lose sight of what really matters. And I do so much for so many people, and I was giving to my son, obviously, and I'm still giving to him, but I was never replenishing. And that's what I forgot to do, was to give back to me, because I would feel guilty. I would feel guilty for giving myself a moment. I would feel guilty for saying, no, I deserve this. I always felt guilty. And it was a moment of saying, Angelica, if you don't replenish yourself, you can't replenish others.
You wouldn't be able to give love to your son
Yeah.
or care for your son.
How can you fill up a cup when you're empty? And that's what I realized being out there.
Now, another, type of work that you do that has been very fulfilling, you have a background in psychology. I just learned this, that you do spend time with some people, homeless people in Skid Row, but also you've been helping undocumented migrants.
Yes.
And tell me about that work and why is it that you do it?
So I started going on the bus tours with This Is About Humanity, going towards the border, towards Tijuana, and visiting people who are waiting for the refugee status and waiting for the court date. And I did a couple of tours with them, and then they work side by side with Immigrant Defenders Law Center. And it's a team of lawyers who help them through the refugee process, going to courts and all that. So there came a moment, we had the strike going on with SAG.
That's another time that it was tough here for anybody in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles because productions were stalled.
So then you're thinking about yourself. So I can't think about myself. Because what's Angelica's issue? She thinks more about others than about herself. So then I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna think about myself. I'm not gonna think about myself in this situation. I gotta give back. So then I started working with Immigrant Defenders Law Center and working side by side, going to Riverside and also to the offices that are near Skid Row and working with refugees and helping them through the process. Teenage girls getting their intakes done because they had just, crossed over into the U.S. and were in the detention center. And let me tell you, not all detention centers are nice. And they don't respect all their rights as human rights either. And we're talking about the U.S., but that's for another day. I needed to give back because my dad is an immigrant. My dad crossed the border millions of times being a mojado until he married my mother. And with that, my blood, my DNA is about immigrants, and I think that's why I move so much throughout the world. It's like I have a gypsy soul, I have an immigrant soul. I find myself that I'm always moving to find something better and being like water. And my dad doesn't, he told me, like, Mijita, how can you go out there and leave?
Turkey.
And he's like, I'm like, Dad, I got it from you. I got it from you. That's not my mom. My mom has stayed in Tucson. I got it from you. You left your home, you left your mom, you left your dad and your family to go and find a better life for the future, because then I came in. You didn't even think about me the moment you left. Well, that's me. That's the kind of blood I have in me. That's my DNA. So then I have to move and keep moving. I know what it is to be an outsider because I was born in the border. I'm neither from here or from there. I'm either
ni de aquí ni de allá.
Ni de aquí, yeah, you lose identity. And when we grow up in the border, we don't have an identity because we're too white for the Mexicans and we're too brown for the Americans. Who are we? We have a lost identity, and it has to do with the people that live in the border. So all of that taken,
we're like hybrids.
Yes, we're hybrids. So taking all of that, I want to help people coming in through this process, and it fills my soul that I'm not just there taking the picture. I'm not there just posing.
I didn't even know that you do this kind of volunteer work. Thank you so much for sharing this. I didn't even know this facet about you. I had the opportunity also to visit Sasabi and also Nogales and talk to the migrants that have been stalled on the Mexican side. And I visited a shelter. And my gosh, the stories are devastating. And for you to have that work, or even for you to feel that you're helping, even just by listening to them, I guess it's very fulfilling. I want to know what is next for you, for Angelica Celaya. What is in the works for you? Because I think I've met you more than 20 years ago. I've had the opportunity to work with you in the capacity as a publicist in different also stages of your life, and all the experiences that you've lived alone.
I think you're one of the few people that you have seen me in all my facets.
I've seen your evolution as a woman too. I mean, you're a mother, and but you're also very passionate, and you don't give up. And now, what is next for Angelica Celaya?
Well, at heart, I'm a creator, and I care about people, and I care about connection. That is something I said in the beginning. I want to connect. And that is something I have within me, within my soul. So my next facet is to look for that connection and bring the bond closer, whether it's through talk shows and doing other content to where I'm creating, because as an actor, you wait for content to be created so that you can participate. But now at this stage in life, where I'm at right now, and what I see that is lacking on TV, I am tired of waiting for, I want to say maybe a man in command to tell me what to do. I'm a woman, I'm a single mother, self-sufficient single mother, Latina, and I want to call the shots. Okay. I want to do it, and I want to create.
So if you would like to connect with audiences, is there like a talk show, maybe something?
That's exactly what I'm headed towards. I want to connect more with people through a talk show, through a channel to where we can have these open conversations, or connect with other people that are in front of the camera, for the people at home to see them the way I see them, the way they need to be seen. Because one thing is, like me, one thing is promoting a show, and another thing is who's really Angelica.
Yeah.
And I think people need to know that part more, because we're not alone. No. And a lot of us that are in front of the camera, we're going through the same problems, same issues, and navigating through the same life.
Wow. Pero mira qué bonito que es que volver a reconectar. De veras, de todo corazón, te agradezco tu tiempo, las pérdidas, y por recomendar este lugar, porque creo que aquí teníamos que estar. Sí, porque creo que Beverly Hills hubiese estado muy ocupado.
Muy ocupado.
Y la gente hubiese estado de metiche.
Sí, y aquí es que la naturaleza es con los skyscrapers, todo, y pues al final del día, como tanto se nos quemó Los Ángeles, tener algo de la naturaleza que sí sobrevivió porque esto en algún momento estaba, it was to a point where it could have been catching on fire.
Yeah. Te deseo lo mejor en todo. Y vamos
Igual.
a ver dónde nos toca estar
Nos va a volver a tocar, porque la vida siempre nos pone
¿verdad, güey? Es que curioso, ¿verdad?
Ya.
¿Quién iba a decir? Te conocí, yo tenía 22, tú tenías 16.
Por ahí sí.
Estabas en high school. Yo recuerdo que tu mamá que va a tener una presentación y me decía que eras estudiante de drama. Y luego yo recuerdo que me gradué de la Universidad de Tucson, y luego me fui a Phoenix, y ahí te vi, y te dije, ay, tienes todo, ya tienes todo. Y luego, ¿qué fue? Y luego fue Mariposa de Barrio, la mujer de mi vida. Y aquí estamos. En Los Ángeles, probando suerte.
Probando, no, mi amor,
living the dream, no,
luchando, ya la probamos.
Luchando por nuestros objetivos, nuestras metas.
Para seguir adelante.
Sí. Thank you so much. I wish you continued success in everything. I appreciate you taking the time to come here to this beautiful, look at our beautiful natural set. Yes. Also to Jorge, ¿cómo estás, mi George? Thank you so much. Well, I think you've accomplished a lot, no?
I think I've accomplished, but I still want to do more.
Well, you're in the perfect city.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Perfiles by Dawn Page. This is Angelica Celaya. Till the next time.